Hey guys, it's Senor, and we're back to the Week 1 recap slash Week 2 predictions. It's going to be an exciting video. I'm going to do what I did last time, kind of just no cuts and go yap for 20 plus minutes about all these crazy matches that happened in Week 1, plus all my predictions for Week 2. I'm just going to get started right away. I believe I might touch on it since Justin was helping me update these standings. You can look at it in the announcements. I'm not going to go over prediction standings in this video, just the general tournament. And yeah, so week one, crazy, crazy week. The week of the pod fraud, or should I say, not hitting pod fraud, because there was like 5 or 6 pod fraud misses this week, and that was just unbelievable. I believe some of that's due to just early game nerves, or sorry, like early tournament nerves. I feel like it's week one, some nerves. A lot of people are running for the very first time ever, first ever tournament. Everyone else, it's their first matchup for most people. So I expected some iffy times. Definitely some big surprises week one. Um, and I guess I'll just start out here because we got so much to go through with the recaps. Quickly recapping the anonymous Nolan Raffo match. I guess to start out, we know Anonymous had those big like lag spikes. Pretty or not even lag spikes. It was like running on 20 FPS or something for him the whole time, which was just an absolute disaster to have in a bottom rung match when tournament life's on the line. Um, so that just really really blows, and that basically kind of put him out of contention for a win. And Rafa soft locked. I'm not remembering where exactly, but I know Rafa soft locked, and obviously after soft locking, he's not going to play as well. And I think Nolan just put on an absolute show, PBing by 2 minutes, or I believe almost 2 minutes, and that was a surprise to me. I kind of put Nolan as maybe the last person to win that race. I mean, I was pretty confident that like it could go to anyone, but out of the 3 people, I would have chosen Nolan as like the last to guess to win that race, and I'm very surprised, happy for Nolan. He's definitely out. He's already outperformed his seed. He's going to be in week 2 of the ladder. Exciting stuff. And I mean, a big PB in a tournament match, that's exactly what you're looking for. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him to do it next week. As for people who are leaving Anonymous and Raffo completely outperforming his seed. He shouldn't have gotten to the ladder. Put on a show, got into the ladder. Maybe a little disappointing his performance to the ladder. I think he could have put up a little bit more of a fight, but once again, he would have had to PB by 2 minutes to compete with Nolan, which I guess Nolan showed that you can do, but um, just not on his game that particular day. And as for Anonymous, we saw him struggle a little bit on the play-ins, especially that like 21st seed match. So it's kind of upsetting though that we didn't really get to see what he could have done in this tournament. Kind of just lost it to FPS problems, and just it sucks. I think if he didn't have him, it would have been a really close race between him and Nolan. Because I think he would do significantly better than he did in the play-ins. But 220 or 243, it's a pretty damn good time from Nolan. So kind of missed out on a potentially really good race there. But Nolan moves up. Really, really good time for him. I'm impressed from Nolan. He's gonna have a tough match again next week. It's gonna be like that for the rest of the tournament for Nolan. But hey, he's already outperformed himself. I'm already happy for Nolan and what he's done. All right. So rung 7, which was Zoda Twice Light Phantom. Twice Light. I mean, first of all, let's touch on Twice Light. Last week in the recap, I said, "Hey, I don't know what the heck this dude's done. I don't know what he's gonna come out and do like this week." But he came out guns a blazing, and he was playing all week. He PB'd I think 2 or 3 times. Yeah, and he put himself in a great spot and won the race with a massive PB. Did not see that coming. I didn't see him playing as much. I could honestly, with how much he was playing and PBing, I could see him potentially PBing the tournament match, which he did. But yeah, really, really good performance from Twice Light. Um, Definitely way outperformed what I thought he was gonna do coming in because I had no idea. Phantom, just another 239.05 seems to be a trend at this tournament for him. That's the second one. Maybe a little bit disappointing for Phantom though, because his PB is now a 235.08, I believe. So maybe a bit of a disappointing run. He still moves up, so same thing as winning the race. Um, but he's gonna have to. I think he's realized he's gonna have to play a lot better to compete with Twice Light. who he's got next week. So Phantom, not gonna say it's a disappointing performance at all because he did his job. He did the job he had to do, moved up, but I think he knows he's gonna have to do a little bit better come next week to continue to stay up and out of the bottom rung. As for Zoda, maybe I know I predicted him last week to get second. I think I over or underestimated how rusty he was. Still needs to get into the groove of things, and I think he's gonna be, since he's in the bottom rung, he's gonna be dangerously close to getting eliminated unless he starts grinding this week because 251 is certainly not gonna cut it. He's gonna have to improve by 10 plus minutes potentially on that race time that he had. So a little disappointing from Zoda, but expected, or not. I shouldn't say expected, but it makes sense because of how much like Rusty still had going. I did not particularly watch that match exactly. I kind of just skimmed through, so I couldn't tell you about specific things that happened in the match off the top of my head, just their final times. But yeah, I guess the takeaways is Twice Light really impressive, and Zoda is kind of in survival mode next week. And then Run 6, I kind of said this is going to be the matchup of the week last week. And I don't think it was the best, but I think it delivered as a really, really good matchup. We saw Flup and Charizard trading the lead a lot in this match. And I think for all these guys, it was their first ever tournament match. So, nerves running a bit high. I think all their times were a little slower than I thought they were all going to be. Flup and Charizard, really, really good race for first place. I know Charizard was messaging like in the chat. He's like, "Oh my god, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous." Maybe that affected him in CCT a bit, but I think as the tournament goes on, the nerves might get better for Charizard. But yeah, Flup takes the win. I shouldn't say that I'm like super super impressed because I think that was I wouldn't say that was expected. No, because that race was really close. But like, I know I am impressed that he takes the win. I just I don't know. Like I said, I'm doing this no takes, or no cuts. So yeah, no, I'm not trying to be rude to Flup or anything. I'm just saying, yeah, I'm, it's not a super like crazy win because it was kind of a 33-33-33 situation. I think in the week before, but I think I'm impressive that he does get the win, and he's gonna be another tough battle with Charizard next week, which I think that'll go back and forth either way for whatever position they're fighting for. And as for Anorak, I think just not a great run from him. I'm expecting he'll do better. I know he probably thinks that was probably a bad run. Did he miss? Was he a pod fraud victim? I can't remember. Too many pod fraud victims to remember, but not a great run from him. I know he's gonna tell himself he needs to do better next week because at this point he's got to win 7 in a row to make top 8. He's got to stay and win in the bottom ladder every single week. So tough challenge ahead for Anorak starting out next week. Okay, next ladder. Try to get through this one a little more smoothly. Harazmi, Garrison, Revilo. I guess first and foremost, really, really, really impressed with Harazmi lately. Gets like a 230 midweek as a new PB. 232, maybe not the best race time, but in the rung he was in and how his other competitors performed, it was more than good enough to win. Really, really impressed with Harazmi. I think he's going to have top 8 aspirations come week 7, 8. So yeah, really, really impressive. That's all I really got to say about Harazmi, and I'm expecting that next week might be putting on another really good performance, and I think it's only up from here for Harazmi. And then I guess the big elephant in the room, that's the saying, is the big 238 from Garrison, which he was a pod fraud victim, so some of that makes sense, but I think it was just rough riding for Garrison after the pod fraud miss, and it makes sense, Definitely some first tournament nerves going in, and he's playing on Xbox, so he has a lead, and then he loses that big lead immediately because he misses pod fraud, and then you're like, oh my god, and you're probably going to play worse, so it's understandable. But obviously not what Garrison wanted from a week 1 standpoint. Not the performance he wanted. I'm expecting a lot better next week from Garrison. A little disappointing, but yeah, that's kind of what I have to say on Garrison. And as for Revilo, essentially kind of just like he had a game plan. Like at least the game plan for him is just get the best time he can and hope someone gets a worse, like a bad race time, and that's exactly what happened. Good enough to get top 2. His PB is just not quite up to the standard of Harazmi and Garrison at the moment. It definitely can be, but he was a little rusty going to the tournament, so kind of about as solid as it'll get for Roy below week 1. He gets a good enough time to advance, and he can try to improve his time as the week progresses before his next match. Um, Moving on to rung 4, which this race was ridiculous. I mean, this is gotta win Bozo race of the week. Not that I'm gonna continue that trend. Hopefully, there won't be one race next week that even gets this title, but absolute Bozo race here. Silhouettes, disguises, sitting in the cantina for a minute plus, switching control devices mid run, missing pod frauds, Bestman panel soft. I mean, what the heck even happened in this race? I was watching this and I couldn't believe what was happening. The weirdest race of the week. Some takeaways, I guess, for specific people. Core, I guess we'll touch on Core first because this was kind of crazy. Partially don't blame him for this. Part of it is control devices, and he got like IRL'd or something. So part of it is not his fault. But he was playing awfully bad sometimes, which some of that's going to be from the control devices, but he just had an awful run, and it just kept snowballing, and it was just horrible. Like, it's 18 minutes off PB. Don't think we're ever going to see a run that bad from Core ever again. That'll go down as probably his worst run, or well, not his worst run of all time, but he will never have a time slower than that, hopefully. Don't really know what to expect from next week yet. It's quite a disappointing performance, but hopefully there will be a big bounce back from Core next week. He's going to have a tough matchup, which I'll get to in a second, but yeah, all I can say for Core is, I mean, I hope to see a significantly better second week, and I think he's probably thinking the same thing. As for Laser and Hamster, also, like, I don't know how much of their time is affected by silhouettes, because obviously the game changes a bit based on silhouettes, and it must have been like a gentleman's agreement or something mid-match. I'm a little underwhelmed by their times, even if they didn't put silhouettes on. I'm a little underwhelmed. Specifically, I guess Hamster, who won it, I'm a little underwhelmed with the 235.50. Laser, I will give some leeway to because he misses pod fraud and he Bestman soft lock, so like I give a little leeway to Laser on why his time's that bad. But still, I think he underperformed even without those soft locks, and Hamster too. But I mean, with how Core played, they could have played blindfolded the last episode and still won. So weird going forward. I'm expecting better from them in the future. I'm assuming there will not be silhouettes in the next match. Yeah, very bozo race of the week right there. No one deserved to win that one, honestly. Anyways, moving on to rung 3. This is the one I commentated, so this is a fun race, and kind of gave some insights early on these guys. Starting with Frost, who everyone picked to win. He did win. I think the slow start in this race, because he did not lead until episode 4, late in episode 4. I think the slow start can be accounted for some nerves and some random mistakes that you won't normally see. So I'm not going to blame him too much for the faulty start, where Jablakey kind of took an early lead and kind of controlled the match, and I was like, what the heck is going on here? In the commentary booth, but it's week 1, and Frost is a really good runner, so I'm expecting he will do better in the next upcoming weeks, significantly better than a 226.22, which is not even that bad, honestly. It's not even that bad. But it'll do for his rung there. He had a solid back half. I can't complain about how he played the back half. 6-3-5. I think that was a good job from Frost there. Kind of just once he took the lead, he took control and didn't really make too many mistakes. As for Jablakey and UJP, man, Jablakey specifically, I think both of these guys, despite one of them having to drop and one of them to go up, should be happy with their performances. Sub 230s from both of them on their first race of the tournament, and I think, EJP Man already PB'd after that race. I'm expecting both guys to be continuously doing better during the tournament. I think these are kind of our favorites to be the 8 seed right now, as they were entering, but definitely made it clear this week with both getting sub 230s that they are the favorites. Jablakey with a really strong early game. I was impressed by that. He did kind of fall off towards the back half, which happens. but I would expect him to fix that up, and I think he's going to have, despite going down, I think he's going to be in a really good situation next week where it's going to be almost impossible for him to go down another rung. I think he'll be promoted back up. And then EJP Man, another, like I said, impressive start for him. He's going to be in a much tougher situation next week just because of his competition in the rungs, which I'll get to later. But as for the sub 230, that's good. He's got another PB since then. I personally put EJP Man as the favorite for the 8 seed at the moment, behind kind of the top 7, where there's kind of a big PB gap. I will put EJP Man currently as my pick for the 8 seed. Jablonski very close behind. Yeah, and that kind of sums up that rung. Rung 2, that race literally just happened a couple hours ago. I haven't gone through and watched the match myself because I didn't see my timer, I didn't see the match. I wasn't looking at that at all during the race, but I do know, obviously, the big thing that happened was Evan soft locking on Droid Factory, which cost him from a first place win here to a demotion, which is just ridiculous. He would have beat both me and Justin had he had not soft locked, so that's just like, literally can't do anything about that. I don't feel particularly great from being promoted based off of that, but I mean, it's a TCS tournament. This is a long tournament, so I'm sure Evan will bounce back from that. And he's got a bit of a softer matchup next week to be able to bounce back from. But yeah, as for Justin, I mean, as expected, he was gonna, like, I was skimming through. He led pretty much the whole race. As expected, he was pretty dominant, pretty consistent. He faltered a bit towards the end, I believe, but that is not typical Justin. I think we'd see some in a typical Justin run. He finishes that ends pretty strong, gets a 224 or something, which I think we'll expect in the next coming weeks. It kind of flipped. So like, I thought that I would be leading out of the early game. At least just Evan aside, between me and Justin, I thought I was going to be leading out of the early game, out of like 4, maybe even 6, and then he would make his comeback in 3 and 5 and close the gap. But the exact opposite happened this time. It was like he led out of 4 and 6, and then I started closing the gap, but then he still won. Excuse me. All right, but yeah, I'm fairly impressed with Justin. I think it'll be good competition in the top run next week. Kind of, around what I expected. I think he'll get a little bit faster of a time. As for myself, I don't want to go too much in detail about the run because, I got a bad time loss here, I got a bad time loss there. I'm not going to whine about that now. But yeah, bad early game from me personally. Something I can definitely fix, though, in the next race. I'm fairly happy with my late game, so that was surprisingly, I got like 4 golds or something. I was happy about that. But certainly a 225-53 is not going to cut it in the future, especially in rung 1. So I'm going to have to kind of grind, do some more. Well, I mean, my race, I don't know the schedule off the top of my head, but my race is already Tuesday, so I'm going to have one day tomorrow to do some more runs. I mean, just to give some insight, I did a no reset before our ladder match and got like a 224-20, and it was like a pretty bad run on top of that. So I know I got the potential to get a good run right now, and I'm gonna have to put that together tomorrow, next week, which is in 2 days. Anyways, yeah, that's kind of what went down in rung 2, and then rung 1. Welcome to the Zach show, I guess, where he has already clinched the 1 seed for the ladder. No matter who gets the 8 seed is gonna lose to him, probably. I mean, it just like he put it together a no reset run that was better than, like, if you take away low or saves, it's better than everyone but Ginger's PB and his own. So obviously he's gonna be the big favorite to win. I literally don't have much to say about Zach other than, he's gonna be the big favorite. Who's gonna be the one to try to take him down in the top 8? Who knows? And then Ginger and Jared. Just absolute fluke runs from both of them. I'm expecting both of them to have significantly better runs next week, since me, Evan, Frost, Justin all had better times than them this week, which I don't think is going to happen next week at all. I think Jared's probably going to, his no resets, or not, okay, I wouldn't say no resets, but his PB attempts lately have been really, really good. I'd expect something, maybe even sub 224 from him next week, potentially. Same with Ginger. He's been grinding it. He got like little bit off his PB as well, released recently, so I'd expect 223, 224 range next week from Ginger. Significantly better than the random hiccups that had happened during that first week race, which maybe it's some nerves, maybe it's just like a little rust. It's a little different because it's no reset, so I'm expecting them to do significantly better. I'm not too concerned about their performances being extremely bad week one. And that will conclude the recaps. Now on to the what I think is the more fun part is predicting and putting in my predictions for these matches next week. I'll start with the bottom rung. Anorak, Zoda, Nolan. What I got taught last week is do not count Nolan out. Do not count this man out. I think he definitely has the edge over Zoda unless Zoda starts grinding again. As for Anorak, if Nolan puts on another PB again, 2-minute PB again, maybe he goes crazy and gets a 3-minute PB, that's going to be some real pressure for Anorak, who's definitely the favorite in this match to stay alive in the tournament. I do not count Nolan out here. Zoda, I think, is the favorite to get last here. He needs to start grinding if he wants to have a chance here. I think if he kind of goes in with the same rust he went into week one, there's actually zero chance. So Zoda's got to get on that. And I think Anorak the favorite here. I'm going to pick Anorak to win this one. I think he'll have a significantly better time than the 242. I think he'll probably get a sub 240, which for Nolan, I think he can do that, but I think that's too big of an ask for a 3.5-minute PB plus in a tournament match. So I think the end of the road for Nolan here, very sadly. But he is already impressed more than he needed to already at this point. And I think Anorak stays alive another week. As for rung 7, bottom rung, loser goes to bottom rung on the line. Twice Light, Phantom, Garrison. This is going to be, I might call this one match of the week. The rung above it's going to be another really good one too, but I'm going to put my match of the week early on. I think this will be a great race. Garrison, Twice Light, Phantom. Garrison going to be the favorite here, just simply off PB. But I think, maybe, after a little shaky week one performance, he might not be totally back. He actually PB'd already since then, so I can't really say too much about his form being bad. I think that was more of a fluky race for him than anything. But I think, even if he's close to his PB, like Twice Light and Phantom's PBs have dropped significantly since the beginning of the tournament, that it's actually going to be a pretty good race. Twice Light proving he literally PB'd in his match last week, so I think he's going to have a good chance. Phantom, yeah, he didn't have a great match last week, but he did PB in between that and this week. So 235.08 PB now for Phantom. That he can do some serious damage. So this is I put this as my race of the week right here. Prediction wise, this is tough. This is real tough. I might just stay safe and give the win to Garrison here. I don't think it's going to be my much, but I'm going to give the win to Garrison. I think a bounce back performance from Garrison, but he's going to get some real competition here. And I'm going to go with Twice Light just because he's looked a little bit better in the league so far than Phantom. Phantom getting a big PB, not in a no reset, but I'm going to take Twice Light barely over Phantom here. I still think anyone can win this race though. Match of the week for sure. And then the next one is the most unique match. Core, Flup, Charizite. I don't know what's going to happen because Flup, Charizite was an insane race between those two last week. Back and forth. I think it'll be the same thing this week. But the thing is, Core is a big, big question mark. Where's Core going to be at next week? Is he going to be near PB level again? Is he going to be 10, 20 minutes off again? I have no clue. Just because I think, wait, let me go double check. I think they actually have their match scheduled Tuesday. I think because the short downtime, Core is favored to go down here. I think Core, unless he's been absolutely grinding since that match happened, I don't think he's gonna like go from a 250 to like a 235 or something. I think he'll be like too high 230s, but I don't think that's gonna be enough to beat Flupper Charizard, who I think underperformed a little bit last week for both of their expectations versus PBs and whatnot. I think they a little bit, both of them a little bit underperformed, and I think they'll do better this week. And I don't think it's going to be good enough. I don't think the DRS is going to be back in time for core. And I honestly am going to predict him down to the bottom rung, which is crazy to say because I mean, I don't even know if I want to call him still a top 8 competitor, but he's going to have to win if he were into theory go down to the bottom rung. He'd have to win 6 weeks in a row, which I think 6 weeks is too many weeks where you can have a fluke bad performance in one of those and just get out. So this is gonna be a very big match for Core. It's gonna decide a lot from this tournament. If he loses, he's gonna be in a world of hurt where I don't think he's gonna be even a top 8 competitor. He moves up, it's a different story, and I think that would be big confidence boost, and he'll be back and try to get into the top 8 race. But yeah, my prediction on that one, I'm gonna go Charizard gets the revenge on Flup. In another close battle, I think Flup gets second, and I think Core goes down. Um, if the race was late in the week, I would have put Core probably up, but it's on Tuesday, it's early, so how much de-rusting is he gonna be able to do? What control device is gonna be on? Who knows? Alright, now rung 4, Jablakey, Harazmi, Revilo. Unfortunately, this is one of those rungs where I'm like, okay. Revilo, like, he did his job last week, but I just don't see a way he moves up this week without an absolute disaster from Jablakey or Harazmi. It's just the PB differences are too much. Revilo, I think, could even PB during this match. However, even if you were to get like a 2-minute PB, I don't think it's enough. I think Jablakey is gonna play even stronger than he did last week and get like a 228, 227 maybe even. Okay, 227 might be a stretch, but 228 I think, maybe lower 229. I think we're going to see a strong performance from Jablakey. Harazmi's been impressing. Like ever since he did that run and signed up, it's only been like uphill from there. Like I think Harazmi could even win this race. Um, but Revilo, like, no hate towards him at all, but I just don't see a way he gets up here. Like, unless he absolutely just destroys his PB, either off or like in normal attempts or in this race, or one of the Jablakey or Harazmi just has a horrible run, I don't really see him staying up here. I think Jablakey takes the race with Harazmi really close. And I don't think Revilo's going to have a bad run. I think Revilo might even PB during this race, but I can't give him second or first. So I'm going to say Revilo goes down. All right, now rung 3. This is going to be just like rung 3 last week. Honestly, even more. Where literally, if there is a soul who chooses Hamster or Laser to win this race that is not named Hamster or Laser, if there's anyone who does that, you're crazy. Because I mean, look, Evan softlocked and Droid Factory put on a like. I didn't watch the match back yet, but considering he's still got a 227.11 with a 2+ minute softlock, he would have had probably a 224 without the softlock, and even in a situation where he softlocks twice or 3 times in a race, I still think he might beat Hamster and Laser, which is just so fluky. I think Evan wins this race with absolute ease. No problems there. But this will be a race where we zone in on the second place race between Hamster and Laser, which last week it was like a Bespin panel soft lock that caused the loss for Laser. I think just like Charizard, I think Laser gets revenge this week. I think he gets second and Hamster goes down. I think it'll be a good close battle. I can definitely see it flipping the other way where Hamster wins or gets second. But yeah, I think this race will be pretty clear cut. The kind of script for it. Evan gonna win by a landslide, and Hamster and Laser are gonna be battling to move up to rung 2 the whole time. I think it'll be a close race. Rung 2 next week. This will be a really, really interesting match. As much as I have been impressed with EJP, he got like a 227. I think he's going to do really well. I think he's my personal favorite to get the 8 seed right now. but I don't think he's going to be able to stay up and go up another rung from this match. And I think he knows this as well. I think it's just, he's just out PB'd too much by these opponents. Sure, Jared had a 230 last week. You can point at that. Hey, look, he got a 230, but there's absolutely no way he gets a time anywhere near that again. I think Jared for sure. I don't want to say for sure wins this race. Because I don't know what sort of Frost we're gonna see. We could see like a Frost who's competing to win. We could also see a Frost that maybe is somewhat near EJP Man for majority of the race and maybe only pulls ahead in 3 and 5 like he kind of did last time, or 6-3-5. Sorry. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're gonna see from Frost. I think the order on this one definitely kind of stays with the Jared Frost EJP Man, but maybe we see a surprise. Maybe Frost doesn't come out as hot. Maybe EJP Man's on the run of his life. Maybe Jared has another 230. I don't think so though. But yeah, I'm going Jared wins by a lot. Frost gets second. EJP Man gets third. But once again, I think there's no losers in this match anyways. If that were the case, I don't think EJP Man going down is going to be like devastating for him. And I think it's kind of he's expecting it, but I think it's more just about the principle of trying to get a good time in that race. And if he goes out to run one, that's insane. All right, and then rung one next week. This will be a fun one. This is my match. I think just thinking about favorites, just when I'm looking at the players, I think Ginger here is going to be the favorite. He had that really, really fluke 227 last week. While I don't think he is going to be like as solid of a player like Zach is going to be in rung one last week, where he kind of just absolutely destroyed and put together an unbelievable race time. I think Ginger's a little bit more vulnerable to losing time, I guess, as seen last week, but I think he's still the favorite here by quite a bit. The thing about me and Justin is, I guess for Justin, he got like a low 223 lately. He is like completely in the zone. By the time this match happens Tuesday, he'll be even more in the zone. I think he'll probably put up at least a 224, something better than he did last week. So that 224 could be competing for first in this race for sure. I think Ginger has the slight odds edge over Justin, or not even slight. I think Ginger has a pretty sizable edge over Justin. I think Justin has a slight edge over me in the odds. Obviously, I know 225.53 is not going to cut it this time around. I mean, not that I was particularly happy with that run or anything. I can definitely see myself getting like a 224. I mean, I just got one in a no reset right before our match, and it wasn't even that good, so I can definitely be up here competing, but I think it's going to be a close race pretty much throughout. I mean, second place still means just as much in this race, so I guess my predictions go Ginger wins. I want to say, oh, I'm confident in myself, I get second again, but I'll flip it this week. I think Justin gets second. I think I get third. I don't say that. Don't make that too. Don't have your predictions influence too much about what I'm saying about myself and getting third. I think just personally that's kind of how the odds are, and I think it goes by the books on this race. Ginger, Justin, me, but who knows? I mean, I'm definitely going to try to get at least a 224, and put up a fight. I mean, who knows? Oh, actually, I was going to say, who knows by next week, maybe a PB, but it's only in 2 days, so it should be a really good race. I think anyone could win. Ginger most likely. But yeah, it should be a really, really good race. And that will kind of conclude the recap for today. Jesus, this went probably really, really long. Yeah, but that is the recap predictions. Week 3 is going to be next week. Make sure you fill out the prediction forms. In the future, I want to go over prediction standings if I can. But, like, there's 15 things to go over this week. It'll get less and less as the weeks go on, so I'll have more time to do that. All right. Peace out, guys. Good luck.